You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Young and the Restless fans. So we've got creepy Holden Novak lurking and following Audra Charles around Genoa City, and the guy is looking more unhinged by the day. Is Holden about to do something insane to get Audra's attention? It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to discuss a couple of rotten things Holden might do as part of a twisted plan to impress Audra and soften her attitude towards him a little bit, including going after Kyle Abbott. But hey, first, please click that subscribe button if you're not following us. All right, so Holden's current interest in Audra's past with Kyle it's inappropriate, it's just ick. And Holden turning his eye on Audra's other ex suggests that, Holden might target Kyle to try and get into Audra's good graces, especially if Holden finds out about Audra's deal with Victor to target Kyle and break up him and Claire. I mean, obviously, quite painfully obviously, Holden is still smitten with Audra. He's borderline obsessed, and she already accused Holden of stalking her, and Audra told him to stop. But Holden insists he wants to protect Audra and be there for her like he was during that mysterious Tucker McCall situation in LA that he helped out with. But Audra doesn't want Holden's help this time. She doesn't want him in her life. Audra told Holden they can't even be friends and he should just pack up and go back to LA. But despite Audra rejecting him again, Holden is not going anywhere. I fully expect him to stick around, to keep stalking Audra and trying to find a way to get close to her as her own personal creeper. So Holden might even try and help Audra in some twisted way, like he said he did with that Tucker circumstance that we still don't know that much about, probably because the writer hasn't even decided what it is, And if Holden figures out that Audra's on a desperate mission to make Kyle look bad so he and Claire split, we could definitely see Holden trying to make that happen for her. Because if Audra doesn't do this, then Victor won't pay up and finance the company, and she won't get to launch Vibrante, which she desperately wants to do. So, Holden might go behind Audra's back thinking he's going to help her, and he may go to extremes that she might not be willing to do. If you remember, Victor wants Audra to seduce Kyle so that Claire finds out and dumps him for being untrustworthy. But Audra's trying to hang on to Nate, who she really likes, so she doesn't want to go the seduction route. But Holden might take things out of Audra's hands. I mean, Holden is clearly an unhinged creeper, an adrenaline junkie, she said, and an extreme risk taker, as she told Sally. And that's quite unlike Audra. She does want to take the cosmetics world by storm and blow Kyle and Jabot out of the water, but Audra's being cautious and she's not willing to cross certain boundaries to take down Kyle and do what Victor wants. But Holden has no such issues. He's not shy. He's out there. He will do bold and bad things. There's honestly no telling what this guy would do. So yeah, Audra doesn't want to flat out seduce Kyle. She just wants to kind of fake something enough to prove to Claire that Kyle is not a good guy and that she'll break up with him. And bottom line, that's what Victor wants, however she can make it happen. And this week, Audra is telling him that she's on top of it. She's got this plan. It's going to happen. But it doesn't look like it is going to happen other than pulling Kyle closer while he tries to figure out what she's doing. And Holden, of course, would love it if Nate dumped Audra so he could swoop in. I'm sure Holden assumes if Nate was out of the way that he'd get Audra back. I don't think that's true, but I think Holden thinks it's true. So there's a couple of kind of low-down, grimy things that Holden might do to help Audra destroy Kyle's relationship with Claire, thinking that he is giving Audra what she wants, and in return, Holden will get what he wants. And obviously, Audra won't seduce Kyle, but Holden might actually take that out of Audra's hands. This guy, we could see Holden drugging Audra and Kyle and putting them in bed together in a suite at the GCAC. Then, Holden could just snap a few pictures of them in bed, send them to Claire so she'd see for herself that Kyle was doing naughty things with his ex Audra. pull off their clothes, make it look really bad. That'd be easy enough because Holden always seems to run into Kyle and Audra at the GCAC bar where Holden is often seen drinking. So he could easily slip something into their drinks without Audra or Kyle even knowing. While he's out and at it, Holden could make sure that Nate got a copy of photos if he took some. And let's be real, Holden wouldn't even have to tell Audra he had anything to do with it. He could just play dumb and show up to comfort her when everything fell apart, except for that one thing that she wants, which should still manifest, getting the payoff from Victor. So Kyle and Audra might even blame each other for their drinks getting drugged. They might not even suspect Holden. Or, instead of taking pics, Holden could approach Claire because he knows her. They've had a few drinks together and say in passing, oh, I saw your boyfriend Kyle heading upstairs with Audra. And then Claire would probably go up, poke around. She could find them in bed together. That way Claire couldn't deny that the pictures were real because there's so many good deep fake photo programs these days. But if Claire walked in on Kyle in bed with Audra, even if they were conked out drugged, that wouldn't be good. And that would convince her because Kyle already said he wants to get closer to Audra because he has a plan to trap her. And this week on Young and the Restless, Claire tells Kyle she doesn't like his plan at all. Claire doesn't want Kyle around Audra. And if she caught them in bed together, even if they looked like they were really out of it, she might just think they got drunk together. And she might think Kyle actually did this and got intimate with Audra, trying to get the information he's after because he's so intent on finding out what she's up to. In that case, Holden may try and kill two birds with one stone and make sure that Nate found out as well. That way, Audra would lose her boyfriend, even though she would get one thing she really wants, which is Victor to fund her company. But Audra would be a mess. Holden could swoop in, try and take care of Audra, comfort her, all that. I'm sure in Holden's unhinged mind, he's probably developing scenarios, ways that he can win Audra away from Nate. And this Kyle situation could prove promising. And either way, no matter how it comes out, I don't think Audra would want anything to do with Holden ever again. And she would be totally distraught if she lost Nate. But Holden seems bent on worming his way back into Audra's life, and going after Kyle could get Audra what she wants. And Holden may think that'll get him what he wants, which is Audra. So we'll see how it goes. But Holden definitely seems wild and ruthless enough to pull this off.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.